The first trailer for Avengers Doomsday is right around the corner. It very well could be out by the time you're watching this. If so, I'm definitely not jealous at all, but with all the hype for this highly anticipated teaser, it's got me thinking, what's the best superhero movie trailer of all time? A movie lives or dies by its marketing, and I think the superhero genre has been blessed with a surplus of incredible trailers over the years. So, I decided to stay up way too late diving into the genre's advertising catalog to put together a list of my favorite trailers of all time. Some people might call that an unhealthy waste of time, but I call it research, and that makes the sleepless nights alright. Fair warning in advance, this is going to be an incredibly biased list. I know I may have the voice of a wise oak tree, but believe it or not, I wasn't alive to see some of those trailers, or I might have been too young to remember others. So please don't hurt me if I don't include your favorite trailer, okay? I am a product of my time and I am trying my best. But here's the thing. Before I dive into my favorites, I think it's important that I explain what makes a good trailer in my own eyes. Trailer making is its own kind of art form and honestly something that should be appreciated more often. I really don't know why there isn't an Academy Award for trailer editing yet, because they are working miracles for some of these movies. You can make a bad movie look incredible with a good trailer. They are basically the film equivalent of gaslighting. Look at what they did for Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. Some of the most hype trailers I've ever seen, and if I say any further opinions, I'm putting myself at a risk of an assassination. For my money, a good trailer does three things. First, it needs to pique your interest and get you hyped. It's simple in concept, but you'd be surprised at how many trailers don't do a good job selling the film. I need to see a trailer and immediately have the urge to drop everything in my life and go watch this film. Show me something I've never seen before and make me desperate to see your movie. Second, don't spoil the movie. It's insane that has to be said, but so many goddamn trailers go out of their way to reveal way too much. They sacrifice hype moments for the trailer, but in doing so, the movie becomes infinitely more predictable and in turn makes me less interested. And finally, it needs to explain the tone of the movie. I don't want to know plot details, I just want to know what I can expect. A good trailer should be able to answer, how is this movie going to make me feel? It needs to reflect that of the film. I don't want a trailer that sells the movie on a false promise. Those three elements make or break a movie trailer, but leave more than enough room for creativity, which is key in making one that stands out. Okay, that's more than enough stalling. Let me get to what you've actually been waiting for. Somehow, I found a way to narrow this down to my 5 favorite trailers of all time, and up first at number 5 is Logan. God, remember when Fox made good X-Men movies? Those were the days. Despite how much crap I might give them, they did hit some very high highs, and none were higher than Logan, the magnum opus of the Fox X-Men universe and a masterpiece of a film. From the very moment this movie was announced, there was so much hype surrounding it as it was finally going to adapt Old Man Logan. And while it didn't exactly do that insane story because they were too scared to have someone get eaten whole, from the very first trailer we were able to tell this was going to be a hit. It's one thing to have one incredible trailer. It's different to have two. This was probably the hardest one to decide on because Logan did not miss with its marketing, which is why I'm cheating a little bit and mentioning them both. The first trailer, set to Johnny Cash's Hurt, was a depressing example of iconic heroes aging out in what at the time promised to be Hugh Jackman's last time playing the character. Hurt felt like the best way to score an Old Man Logan inspired film, as time has clearly caught up with him and he's struggling more and more every day. I don't think there's a song in history that has fit a character more than this. But if I had to choose one, and this may be a hot take, I think the second trailer is even better than that. Way Down We Go is a song all about embracing life's struggles and the dark patches we all go through, and if that's not Logan, I don't know what is. It does a really great job fitting this modern day Western aesthetic the film is going for, all while giving it that darker twist that really sets the stage for what this movie is going to be about. The music alone does such a good job portraying the tone of this film as it's juxtaposed with some really brutal violence. While I do love a teaser that doesn't tell you much, for a movie like Logan, I appreciate how this second trailer clues us in more on the story and the road trip aspect of the film. Literally starting with a clip of them in a convenience store, making this feel a lot more normal than it should be, then having Logan break this casual reality as a reminder that this world is a lot scarier than it seems to be. And the big difference maker between the two trailers is that this second one gave us a look at what Daphne Keene's Laura was capable of, and good lord, it is some of the coolest things I've ever seen. I still have that one shot of her sticking those claws out in front of Boyd Holbrook's character ingrained in my memory. The contrast of this youthful, violent character and Logan aging out of the mantle works really well to sell what this movie is going to be about. But what gives this trailer the edge for me is the quote from Charles at the end, when he says, "This is what life looks like. People who love each other. A home. You should take a moment. Feel it. You still have time." That line has stuck with me for years. The way it's edited into the trailer as those lines are juxtaposed with the brutal visuals is so touching and devastating all at once, especially when the music kicks in towards the end of it all. It does a really great job showing you the themes of the movie and how Logan still has time to get the normal life he always wanted in his final hours, as he's been tasked with protecting Laura and trying to make sure her and Charles get to safety. It's such a poignant way to end the trailer and does a great job highlighting the tragedy of a character like Wolverine, this outcast and loner who has always had a hard time fitting in, now finally finding this avenue to have his own family in a way. It's one of the most beautiful trailers of all time, and something I rewatched religiously growing up ahead of the actual movie itself. From the very moment we saw the first trailer, it was clear this movie was going to be special, but when that second hit, I knew that we were in for a generational film, and my god, did it not disappoint. Coming up next at number 4 is a big one, being the first trailer for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Gotta try not to cry while talking about this one because, god, it is such a beautiful and emotionally resonant trailer. I don't think I've ever seen a movie trailer able to capture the tone of a film quite like this one here. Obviously, after the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, it was our first look at what we could expect in this film. All the eyes in the world on it, wondering what Marvel Studios is going to do with not only the character of T'Challa, but also the mantle of the Black Panther. So they basically had the weight of the world on their shoulders trying to market a film like that. I do not envy them at all, but it's so impressive how they knocked it out of the park here, because when I talk about trailers that deserve awards, this one is so high up on that list. Oh my god, I cannot say enough good things about how well done this trailer was. The gradual transition from No Woman No Cry to All Right makes this an all-time trailer for that alone. It is such an inspired creative choice that perfectly embodies what this film is going to be about, and the transition is seamless. Going from this calm message of comfort in the face of loss to a powerful anthem of hope for the future was a genius move. It's honestly taking us through all 5 stages of grief over the course of like 2 minutes, which is a monumental task. The use of music to portray this therapeutic message is a beautiful touch that I think brings this trailer up to a whole other level, but it's the dazzling reel of just the most insanely gorgeous visuals possible that really shows you how much of a work of art this movie is going to be. They don't tell us what we can expect for anything in the plot. It's just a visual spectacle that lets you in on the tone of the movie. And I really like the choice to ease us into the idea of a new Black Panther as they show one shot at the very end of this mysterious clawed figure. Now, I'm pretty sure we all figured out it was going to be Shuri. It's literally how the rite of passage goes. But for a trailer so respectful, I think the idea of just giving us a little tease and allowing us to speculate was the right move rather than just putting it in your face that there's going to be a new Black Panther in Shuri, especially because that mystery of who's going to take over is a huge part of the film, since Shuri is so apprehensive to take her brother's place. But I think the most brilliant thing about this trailer is that there's only one spoken line of dialogue throughout the entire thing, and it's from Queen Ramonda's speech when she says, "I am queen of..." Why am I even trying this? I cannot compete with Angela Bassett. Just let her say it.
"I am queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?"
Still mad they didn't give her that Oscar, by the way. That was highway robbery. It is maybe the most thematically relevant line of the entire film, and I think using that as the backbone of the trailer, as they begin to intersplice No Woman No Cry with All Right, creates this perfect blend of emotional vulnerability with a building sense of hype and hopefulness that makes this trailer stand out as one of the most powerful pieces of marketing I have ever seen in my entire life. I am proud enough to admit that this made me tear up the first time I watched it, and I probably will the next time I do too, because it is a beautiful love letter to the world of Wakanda, Chadwick Boseman, and everything this universe has stood for, and I think it will stand the test of time as one of the all-time great trailers. After that, at number 3, we have another trailer for another 2022 film, that being the first teaser for The Batman. I sat through 8 goddamn hours of DC fandom just for those 2 minutes, and let me tell you, it was worth every single second of The Rock's glazing just so I could see Robert Pattinson's Batman brought to life in the most beautifully enticing way possible. Yeah, remember DC fandom? That thing they did during the pandemic where they just had people walking around in these weird void rooms promoting the movies? Honestly, I kind of miss that. I wish they could do it in person one day. But when it came to the first ever fandom event, the headlining announcement was going to be our first look at The Batman. Batman. When you're introducing a new universe, like what would soon become the Batman epic crime saga, you only have one chance to make a first impression. And I think that this teaser did an incredible job at doing just that. It was basically a tour of the movie's visual aesthetic without giving away anything from the plot. For the first time, we were getting to see all the new reinterpretations of characters like the Penguin, Catwoman, and of course the Riddler, along with seeing Pattinson's Batman in action, all set to the backdrop of Reeves' incredibly dirty and gothic Gotham City. Oh my god, it was such an incredible experience that I will never forget. Even before we saw any footage, the sounds of the Riddler's duct tape syncing up with the logo is an iconic way to start a trailer. All around, the editing of this trailer is done so well. I love the pacing of it, if that makes any sense. It has this very slow, haunting start, but as the trailer progresses and things start to pick up, the action begins to sync up with the score, and it just gets your adrenaline pumping in the most exciting way possible. Now here's another big hot take for you. Something in the Way is the best song to ever, and I mean ever, accompany a trailer. Not just a superhero trailer, but any film trailer of all time. I could not envision a song that fit this universe better, and it just immediately sets the tone and lets you know what you're in for. I especially have a big pet peeve where I hate when movie trailers use a song, and then I grow attached to that song, and then that song just isn't in the movie. If you're going to center your film's marketing around one specific song, then so help me God, it better be in the film. Unless it's like Suicide Squad where they re-edit the entire movie just to fit the song. Don't ever do that, please. And the Batman absolutely understood that ideology because Something in the Way plays twice in it. If this film didn't already have the greatest Batman score of all time, and I will die on that hill, Something in the Way would basically be his theme song. The blending of that song with Michael Giacchino's heart-pumping soundtrack hits like crack in the 80s. I guess, I don't know, I've never done crack, but I think it has the exact same feeling as watching this trailer. It does a great job letting you know what you can expect as they set up this mystery with the Riddler. I especially love that the beginning of this trailer is set to Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon reading out the first of his riddles. And it's only made better by how little we see him in the trailer, as we see him at the start of it and then very little throughout the rest of the trailer. Knowing that he's pulling the strings in all this, they do such a great job presenting the Riddler as he casts this mysterious shadow over the marketing. And then of course, I can't talk about this trailer and not mention the most iconic part of it all, when Batman puts that goon in a coma. The line, "I'm vengeance," has gone on to become a definitive Batman line, but at the same time, I still remember just how hyped that scene got me, showing us the kind of brutal Batman we're going to be dealing with, as he treats himself as this force of nature in Gotham City. With how important the themes of vengeance are to the film, this trailer has aged even better after the movie released. It's almost meta marketing in a way, as they gave you the same expectations the Riddler had, that Batman was going to be this force of vengeance that they deconstruct over the course of the film. God, this is such a perfect trailer. Every little detail is masterfully done to give you the best possible impression you could have of this universe. Even down to the A in the logo having the little bat ears on it, that is the coolest thing ever. The only problem with this trailer is that it has the 2021 release date still attached to the end, but that's just funny in hindsight. Things are going to get serious now when we enter the top 2, because coming in at number 2 is the first teaser for Avengers Endgame. You really just had to be there, man. There's no other experience in my life I can equate to something like this. I still vividly remember the fact that this dropped during one of my Photoshop classes in high school, and I dropped everything to watch it. In the wake of Infinity War, the entire Marvel fandom was distraught. They just pulled off the most insane ending in superhero movie history, and all we knew is that we'd see them again in a year. This was the first time we had seen anything from Endgame at all. Marvel had done an incredible job keeping the secrets of Avengers 4 under lock and key, to the point where they wouldn't even tell us the title. Do any of you remember that era? Because it feels like a fever dream in hindsight. I still remember when Avengers Annihilation, Avengers Forever, Avengers Disassembled all were leaked and rumored until we finally got the reveal in this teaser that the movie was going to be called Avengers Endgame, and it's still to this day one of my favorite title cards of all time. I have to give Marvel all the respect in the world, because the restraint of not revealing the title in the title of the video just so they could save it for the end of the trailer after all that speculation was a genius move. It immediately disarms you as a viewer, putting you on edge, not knowing what to expect when you don't even know what the movie is called. And then from there it unravels as we're given this incredibly reflective, introspective trailer that lets us see this movie for the first time ever. The opening few seconds of this trailer have stuck with me for years. That soft, somber sound at the beginning, it just scratches an itch in my brain the right way and does a really great job of letting you know how defeated everybody is. The Avengers lost for the first time, and the entire universe felt the repercussions of it. This one chord is struck in such a way that there's an entire wave of emotion flooding out of it, especially when it's paired with this visual of a broken Iron Man helmet as Tony's arm weakly caresses it, seeing just how visually exhausted and defeated he is, trapped in the endless void of space. And then what makes this trailer special is that it builds upon that somber tone with a soundtrack that could score a rebellion. It builds and builds and builds until there's this truly epic scale with a real sense of finality to it. You can really tell that this is the end of the path we started on 11 years ago at this point. It does a really good job exploring the weight of loss as we see how every character has handled it differently. Tony is stranded in space, Thor has locked himself away from everyone else trying to deal with that guilt, Clint has gone off the deep end as Ronin, Natasha and Steve are still trying to hold strong, but you can clearly tell how broken they are as they shed tears. All in contrast to the brief shots of Thanos we see of him resting on this farm. It's the little details that really go a long way in showing you just how far the Avengers have fallen, as the roles have been completely reversed between them and Thanos. When Natasha tells Steve that this is gonna work, and Steve responds saying that he doesn't know what he's going to do if it doesn't, you feel that sense of desperation because of how the trailer has been built up. With only 2 minutes and 25 seconds, they're able to tell you so much about this movie while barely telling you anything at all about it. They answer some questions about the aftermath of Infinity War and who got snapped, but they present you with even more questions that we weren't expecting in the slightest. I will never forget the speculation that came out of this trailer as everybody was losing their minds from it. People were wondering if Steve was traveling back in time and that's why he had the Winter Soldier outfit on again, theorizing literally every single possible solution for how Tony gets out of space. But I have not seen a fandom light up like I have when Scott Lang appeared at the very end. His arrival acts as this beacon of hope for such a desolate trailer, as there's finally a sign of possible change, and they set it up so well through the editing, showing us earlier on in the trailer that the Avengers think Scott is dead, so when he appears at the end, it has completely shattered everything they've known. And it is just an excellent example of giving you breadcrumbs and letting us run wild trying to figure out what's happening. I remember this era like it was yesterday, dude. I don't think there's anything that will even come close to matching what it was like in the build-up to Endgame as a Marvel fan. If I could just bottle that feeling and hold on to it forever, I could die happy. Or be like the best drug dealer of all time, because that was the biggest high I've ever felt. Now, I know you're all excited to see what I think the best trailer of all time is, but what if I drag it out just a little bit more? As I need to shout out some honorable mentions because it pains me not to mention them in this video. There are so many good superhero movie trailers, and trying to narrow it down to 5 was driving me crazy, so please just let me include a few more. The first teaser for Guardians of the Galaxy immediately put the team on the map. They introduced each character one by one, but also showed how much style and personality the film had. That hooked on a feeling needle drop is going down in the history books. I have been obsessed for years with how the Ugo Chaka was used to build hype for the film. It may have started a very annoying trend of people using old songs for nostalgia, but it was worth it for this masterpiece of a trailer alone. The second trailer for Captain America Civil War was genuinely life-changing. It set up the stakes incredibly well, dividing the Avengers and immediately giving you valid justifications for each side. But the ultimate kicker was the Spider-Man reveal at the end. Oh my god, I have chills right now just thinking about it. It was so beyond surreal at the time seeing him join the MCU and interacting with these characters. The Age of Ultron teaser is so unfairly good. Having a child eerily saying "I've got no strings" is just chilling. It set Ultron up as such an intimidating threat. While I definitely like what we got, I wish the movie resembled this tone more because it gave me some very dark expectations. It is just a damn good trailer. It's been over a decade, which is terrifying to think about, but this trailer has stood the test of time as one of the best they've ever done. The first trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home was genuinely insane. The way it leaked on a phone hours before, only for them to finally drop it after making us wait forever. Thankfully, it lived up to the hype and then some, balancing the identity cliffhanger from Far From Home with the multiversal stakes incredibly well and showing us just enough at the end to go wild over. That "Hello Peter" at the end was so good and had me bouncing around all over the room in excitement. And finally, the first teaser for James Gunn's Superman felt like an event in and of itself. I know it hasn't even been a year yet, but this trailer is going to go down in the history books. I remember that day like the back of my hand, waking up early just to see it as soon as possible. The way the electric guitar scores it and shows us a more vulnerable take on the character before transitioning into this bombastic anthem as we watch Superman save people is so beautifully touching. I especially love how it's set to the Superman chant from the movie. It's one of the only trailers that made me tear up and deserves a spot for that alone. I really wish I could have fit it into the top 5, but god, the competition is tough. All that being said, there can only be one winner. And if there's any movie that can rival the hype levels of Avengers Endgame, what? No! Get Morbius out of here! Did you think I was gonna say Morbius? The trailer with the blatant lies? No, never. It's Avengers Infinity War. The trailer that did the lying correctly. You really think that low of me that I'd choose Morbius over the greatest film trailer of all time? Yeah, that's right, I said film trailer. God, I would do anything to relive this trailer again for the first time. I can not only remember exactly where I was when this dropped on a field trip in school that I didn't pay attention to, but I remember where I was when the extended version of this leaked months prior at San Diego Comic-Con. So to say that this trailer was highly anticipated is the understatement of the century. 10 years of storytelling had all led up to this one point right here, as we took our first big step out the door from the Infinity Saga, and they did not pull any punches with this trailer. It felt so climactic, like a true event signifying the beginning of the end. Filled with so many callbacks and payoffs, yet still barely giving us any idea of what the plot of this movie is going to be. We knew Thanos was finally going to get his ass out of that chair and collect the stones, but we had no idea how he was going to do it. And this trailer walked such a fine line between showing us just enough to go crazy over, while still withholding all the big moments of the film. The way this trailer opens with some of the core Avengers reciting Nick Fury's "There Was an Idea" speech from the first movie is such a wave of nostalgia that even rewatching it nowadays, I still feel. A quote, by the way, which was used in the first ever trailer for the Avengers all the way back in 2012, so it's a very big full circle moment to use it again here for Infinity War. This core mantra and speech that brought the Avengers together now being recited by the team as they're about to go up against their biggest challenge yet. It really helps to tie the entire thing together and give you this wave of remembrance, knowing how far we've come from the beginning to now, where the Avengers are fighting an intergalactic purple rock collector who loves genocide. And while part of me does wish they did say those lines in the movie itself, I do think it's really cool that they went out of their way to design the entire trailer around them. I really do appreciate how this trailer is structured overall too, because Marvel was surgical with what they showed and when they showed it. Obviously we get some really exciting flashes of characters and see what they're up to now, but Thanos absolutely dominates this first trailer. It's structured in a way where the first minute of this teaser is spent building up to Thanos. We don't get to see him, we just get to see the chaos ensuing from his arrival alone. How all these different characters are shaken by what's about to transpire, giving us this oncoming sense of dread. All the while, Thanos is reciting some of the hardest lines I've ever heard. Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same as he exits out of a portal still goes incredibly hard all these years later. But creating that tension in the trailer does a really good job of making Thanos' presence feel dangerous. When he finally arrives, we spend the next minute of the trailer watching him wreak havoc, and it is equally satisfying as it is terrifying. The fact that they were willing to reveal he had 2 stones in the trailer alone was crazy at the time. If they had just left it at that, I think it still would have gone on to become the most viewed trailer of all time. By the way, at least 12% of these are entirely me. But Marvel went on to bless us with insane reveals that not only didn't undercut the movie, but fed us clues like breadcrumbs to starving ducks. Like seeing Peter in the Iron Spider armor going up to space to fight Thanos was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. That was a religious experience. Just a few years ago, that would have been a fever dream, and it was our reality, and they're giving us a glimpse of it in the trailer. And by far, my favorite part of this entire trailer was, of course, when we saw Steve Rogers and his beautiful beard for the first time. You already know my Captain America bias was hitting like crazy, but after knowing he went on the run in Civil War, just that one shot of him stepping out of the shadows was instantly iconic to me. I especially love how they build up to it too, with Black Panther saying, "Evacuate the city, engage all defenses, and get this man a shield," as if Captain America having his shield is just as much as a priority, and it makes Steve's return feel like the biggest deal imaginable. And then using the Guardians meeting up with Thor as the stinger of the trailer was a great way to still give us the interactions we crave, all while holding off on what was maybe the biggest part of that entire movie, the Guardians side plot with Thor. Everything they're doing takes up a good third of that movie, so withholding that information gives us more than we could ever dream of to process, all while keeping their little secrets that will surprise us like crazy in the theater. They also gave us little breadcrumbs in the story that worked to subvert our expectations, like with Banner in the Hulkbuster. The way we see him working on the suit earlier on in the trailer, and then we see the Hulkbuster in action, cluing us in on Banner's arc over the course of this movie with how he's not going to be able to get on the same page with the Hulk without saying a single line of dialogue. And then when we get to the actual movie expecting Hulk, they subvert our expectations to make that loss feel even harder as nobody gets a win in that movie. I always love how marketing can tie things into fan expectations and use that to their advantage when making the movie hit even harder, and this trailer does that better than anything else. With how much I hate movie trailers that spoil the plot, I can't help but respect the fact that Avengers Infinity War directly lies to the viewer, including several different shots that won't be in the movie just to give us false theories on what could happen, especially when it comes to that final ending shot of the entire cast running towards the camera. I don't think that Thanos' snap would have been nearly as effective if they didn't include that shot in the movie, because the entire time you're waiting for the Avengers to finally get the advantage and for that shot to happen as they all charge Thanos and save the day, but it never comes. The movie plays with your expectations, and at the exact moment you think that shot would happen, they just get picked off one by one, and they lose. It is a perfect execution of manipulation. The Infinity War era was just so special. I could probably talk about this trailer for hours. I rewatched this like it was my job ahead of this movie, dissecting every little detail until I had it memorized by heart. It was a masterpiece that did everything it could to get you excited for the movie, all while barely telling you anything about it. While I don't know if that era of the MCU can ever be topped in terms of anticipation, I really hope that Doomsday is able to find a way to do it. There is so much riding on that film, but if there's one thing Marvel knows how to do, it's market an Avengers movie. Honestly, I hope that in a few years' time, I can come back to this list and have a completely new ranking system just because of how far the genre has come. If Marvel and DC keep moving in the direction they have the last few years, their trailer game is only going to continue to get better and better. I love talking about movie trailers so much. I feel like they are such an underappreciated but rewarding part of filmmaking. They always act as a time capsule and a product of the time they came out in, as we can see what the popular trends were when the movie was released. It's really fun to look back and see how far things have come. Look at the first trailer for the Avengers and compare that to Endgame. It is night and day, and that all took place in just over a decade. Revisiting all those memories and the emotions they made you feel is a different kind of nostalgia that you can't get from anything else. So I really can't wait to see what the future holds as we enter two bold new eras in the coming years. Gonna be honest with you, don't really know how to end this video. I kinda hoped that the Doomsday trailer or the Supergirl trailer would have been out by now and I could have done a funny bit about that, but I got nothing. So why don't you just let me know what you think the best superhero movie trailer of all time is? I would genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And while you're at it, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you do it, I'll make a trailer about your life. I'm also going to make one if you don't subscribe, but it's going to be a really bad one. So tell me, how do you want to be remembered?